Hey, you all, I just got this question recently, and I believe that if one person is asking, there are millions of others that are searching for the answer and may be uncertain. So I think it's going to help you. And the person asked, how do I support somebody that's confiding in me and they're telling me what their concerns are? And when I give them advice, they are actually resistant to it and may even go off on me for the advice that I give them. Y'all, this is a great question. That being said, this person went off to the point of saying, you know what, shut the up. I imagine you know what word they put in there. That being said, sometimes the best support that you can give somebody like that is actually to separate yourself. Because why should we normalize emotional abuse? The thing is, when somebody is hurting, if they are not seeing what they can do differently, even when you give them advice, they are choosing to stay where they are. And a hurt person will hurt people. Pain that is not transformed is transmitted. And it's very important for me to speak on this subject because when we talk about domestic violence, it's not something that may just happen all of a sudden. There are red flags that we may even ignore because of how we see ourselves. You know, it really touches actually on the self-esteem issues. When we become frustrated that somebody's not taking our advice and they're also being disrespectful. As a matter of fact, they may even call you delusional. They call you crazy. They may even gaslight and then manipulate you and say, well, you're the reason that I'm even speaking to you like that. You should stand up for yourself. Or, it's like a lion telling a gazelle to beef up, and stop looking like prey. It's ridiculous. That being said, such as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if you see yourself as a person that cannot speak up for themselves, or that you're always going to be walked over, or that people always do this to you, it's a limiting belief that you need to break free from, because what is on the inside of us is what we end up attracting. And I talked about this in a video that I'm going to link up here, because again, we can become frustrated when people aren't taking our advice, but sometimes that frustration has less to do with the other person and more to do with us. And it can be a mirror of what we need to work on in our own selves, because you are the change that you want to see. Sometimes we want people to change, but you can't change people. You can't control people. And sometimes people become controlling, or we may make someone our project because we've been disappointed so much. And also we care so much. We care a lot. So we don't want to just leave someone or abandon them when they are having a breakdown. But it's wisdom. There's wisdom in knowing what is yours to carry and what's not. There's wisdom in knowing what's within your capacity and what is going to not be in your capacity, what's not. There's a stressed capacity and there is a stretched one. The one that is stretched is where God is doing something in you and he's giving you more. Sometimes you may feel like it's too much and you may feel like it's drowning, but it's a mindset shift, and he is growing. He's growing your capacity so that you can handle the promises that he's taking you to. But one that is a stressed capacity, where it's not just that rubber band where he's stretching, but it's about to break, is because you might have taken on a yoke that is not yours. And many times it's because we're led by fear, the spirit of fear instead of the Holy Spirit, right? And when we're led by the spirit of fear, we end up conforming to the image of our circumstances or to people, where they say this or they say that, or, they can be so negative or irritable. and we end up wanting to avoid what they're going to say, so we say nothing at all. And or we are afraid of disappointing them, so we end up just doing what we believe they want us to do, and there is a depletion that comes with that. There is a mental, emotional drainage that comes with that. It's like that leak in the roof that you want to stop leaking, but it doesn't, and until you find the source and you patch that thing up, it's just going to keep leaking. And you're going to continue to feel that tiredness and that fatigue until you address an issue that is beyond the surface. And many times we need somebody like a coach to help us heal from that pain in the past, because that's showing up presently, and it can infect and impact your future, where you're meant to actually have an impact. You're actually meant to be a leader, but you've been let down so much that sometimes we end up lowering our expectations and our standards in terms of how we deal with people and what we allow to happen. But let me tell you, you are valuable and you are precious, and nobody should be abusing you emotionally, physically, sexually, mentally, with your time, with your finances, any kind of way, no matter who it is, right? Yeah, we're going to pray for them, but it doesn't mean that you need to stay in proximity with them. Okay. Or that you got to stay in relationship with them. We can forgive them, but forgiveness does not mean condoning behavior. It does not mean allowing yourself to be put in situations that will compromise your safety. And sometimes we just think of physical as something that is abusive, but emotional abuse is just as harmful. Mental abuse is harmful. If someone is calling you out of your name, they're calling you crazy, delusional, they're calling you the B word, the M word, all kinds of things. Y'all know the cuss words. I don't have to say the initials of those things. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's not right. So the best way that you can support that person is by separating yourself from that person. And emotional abuse or domestic violence, it's not normal, right? Sometimes we may normalize it because you were neglected as a child. You were around someone that may have been emotionally neglectful or physically absent, or you dealt with people who were irritable. Maybe you dealt with someone who was emotionally abusive, who was more connected to their pain, that you misunderstood your purpose. Therefore, the purpose that you believe, that you have conformed to is by remaining in situations where, again, other people are in pain. So it's a recreation of that trauma. It's a recreation of the same event that you had in your childhood, that sometimes we make that our project. We try to help. We're anticipating that irritation. We're walking on eggshells, and then we're creatures of habit. So we get used to that and we become accustomed to that we continue to relive that. And it becomes a generational pattern that we end up maybe even having children with this individual and just doing the same thing. Right. And then they also end up having an impacted self-esteem, where we may be irritated with our children, and we may say things that we don't mean, and we're passive aggressive with them, right? And all of that, right? And then they end up doing the same thing, but you're generational cycle breaker. And God makes everything beautiful in his time. And let me tell you, if you are looking for a sign, y'all, this is it. This one is it. You are too precious and beautiful and loved to endure something that is robbing you of life, of living, of peace. God has paid the price, and too much of a price, for it to be wasted in a situation or with someone that is resistant to change. Okay. I encourage you to get the help that you need. I encourage you to leave a relationship where that is abuseful and it's compromising to your safety. I encourage you to invest in your personal growth and in your healing, because that's where you can really help from. not trying to, put the pieces together in a puzzle that really needs, just some in-depth surgery. It's beyond you. Okay. That person needs God. All right. And some mental health help, right? We all need it. We all need it. But I'm saying the best way that you can support somebody that seems to be resistant, especially when those things are happening. There's emotional abuse, there's manipulation, they're resistant to change, is by not even giving two more words of advice to that person. It's by having healthy boundaries. It's by you actually working on your self-esteem. It's by you separating yourself, because separation will elevate you. And then when you leave something that is toxic and unhealthy, you can really then become triumphant in those areas that even led you to that person to begin with. Sometimes we'll leave our childhood home, but that childhood home mindset didn't leave us. It's time for you to invest in your personal growth so you can leave some of those things behind. And then you can really step into the helping role in a healthy way. All right. Share, like, and subscribe. Take care. Bye.